Everyone, it's Jacqueline. I wanted to make a quick video update. I am actually just about to head out to the gym. And, so I think, I ended up, it's kind of funny how I came to this. I'm having a good day today. And I was tired. I mean, I went out to dinner with friends last night and I didn't break my keto diet and I haven't had a drink in a year and a half. So all for fitness stuff, fitness reasons and so on and so forth. And I'm always high all the time though. So I guess that counts. So this morning I got up, and someone had posted that there was the new He-Man on from Netflix. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go check that out because I loved He-Man growing up. Well, after watching it, it was one of those things because I knew there was a lot of people that were upset about, the political correctness of it and saying that it is, that they're going to make the women buff, or manly or so on and so forth. So anyway, sorry, I just knocked the book down. I watched this trailer and I mean, I'm not going to lie. I had like adult tears while watching it because times how things have changed are fascinating and this doesn't really have too much to do with being transgender, but it kind of does at the same time. Because a lot of people talk about cancel culture, and, so on and so forth. And cancel culture is not really applied to when it comes to like trans people in sports or abortions, because let's face it, there's cancel culture on both sides of this. So this isn't a political thing. When it comes to, women's bodies and shaming people and so on and so forth, and a lot of people see me, as, being trans, from my past videos and so on and so forth, how I have judged cross-dressers and non-binary people and, and so on and so forth. So they see it as me being, there's a term for it, something like that. I don't know, scum mouth, some shit like that. Anyway, so for me, when I was younger, my idols growing up were, of course, Sigourney Weaver from Alien and Aliens and Alien 3. And everybody thinks of Ripley, her character, as being this like badass, strong woman. She really wasn't. She was more of mentally strong. So she had been through some shit and she was just thrown into this and she didn't have, time to prepare. There was no like athleticism behind her. She was a truck driving space, like a tug ship sort of person, So when I was younger and I watched Ripley, for some reason, she just, I watched her and I was like, mentally, Ripley is who I would want to be. But people misinterpret her as being this like strong, tough woman. But she was never really buff. She was never, she did what she had to do to save the human race. It's kind of simple, it's like when you're put in a difficult spot, what does it mean to be human? And that's why I love Aliens so much. I mean, I love, of course, the alien itself, but Ripley herself is just phenomenal. Anyway, so I watched that He-Man trailer and there was a lot of people talking shit about, the images that had come out, and it had all the other female characters, like Evelyn and so on and so forth in the new He-Man being too buff. And politically correct or whatever, because now women are buff. Yes, women are buff. Women have been buff for a long time. Like the 70s and 80s, Grace Jones. I mean, come on. Like women have been bodybuilders for a long time. So when it comes to, after I watched that trailer, I was so motivated. And then I started looking at the images of all these characters and I saw these, like, the buff women, in it. And I was like, this is wonderful. Of course, I always rooted for the villains in He-Man and all the cartoons I watched growing up. But also, the music that's in this trailer was incredibly 80s, slightly cheesy. But I find it, like, female empowerment, So when it comes to, like, cancel culture, in the 70s, 60s, 70s, women were very much, like, burning their bras and trying to become, like, anti-feminism. And, and then disco era started to hit, and then that slowly started to change. The 80s hit, and then women started exercising and getting buff and tone and lean and strong. And then the 90s hit, and then it became like just thin, which I think was like the worst time period because it was like the grunge look and You could even look into how, fashion industry had to respond as far as selling things when it came to the grunge era. They started to push women as heroin chic, thin and starving and so on and so forth. That was my least favorite time period, was like, I would say 1994 through, 2002, 3. I think that was like the worst, when women were just like anorexic and thin because they weren't strong. They were just self-conscious and, not eating. It's like, so then we came into the era of no body shaming, political correctness, and so on and so forth. Now it's like we defend women being 300 pounds, saying that they can still be healthy, and 400 pounds, and saying that they're perfectly fine. They're perfectly fine. And it's, so for me, I get it. So when it comes to like my criticism of the non-binary group and cross-dressers and so on and so forth, when it comes to the trans community, at the bottom line, whatever makes someone happy, I agree with. So cross-dressers and non-binary people, even if I have my differences with them and misunderstanding, especially when it comes to their hormone therapy and so on and so forth, at the end of the day, whatever makes them happy is what matters. So when it comes to my criticism of the new sort of wave of overweight models, and we're talking morbidly obese people and stuff like that, there's no reason to shame them and say anything bad about their body, but at the end of the day, it's not healthy. So that's my opinion. So whatever makes someone happy, if being morbidly obese and dressing in certain clothing and being revealing and so on and so forth and eating makes you happy, then by all fucking means, do it, and I support you in that thing. However, for me, when it comes to my personal thing, I always loved like the buff women of the 80s. So when I watched this He-Man trailer and I saw these buff women and and He-Man all buff and it's 80s music, I was just like, oh my God, yes. Like all of this was exactly what I've tried to embody as a woman my whole life, like strong, actually physically strong, and challenging to men on a physical level, not just mental strength or view or opinion, but actually being a fucking badass. And so after watching this trailer, I was like, oh God, I'm so more motivated to go to the gym. And it's so silly because it's a cartoon, but we all have our motivation somewhere. And so I am hoping that now that we've gone through the political correctness stage and cancel culture and so on and so forth, because everyone cancels. It doesn't mean it's a political thing. People just like canceling shit they don't agree with, Like conservative people wanted to cancel the masks, And it's like, and then, some people just want to cancel anyone that criticizes cross-dressers or non-binary people and so forth. We just automatically cancel them. We don't like them, And for me, I think it's becoming to the point where we become more open-minded. However, whatever you personally support and what you see as a strength is what matters. So for me, I like badass women that can challenge men physically. I've just always liked it. Even in the new, Last of Us 2, the Abby character. Everyone thought it was a trans woman, but actually she was just a really buff woman. And people say that's not possible for women to gain that kind of weight. And I'm like, actually it is. It's just women have it so ingrained in us to be thin that we have a battle. Even me, when I work out, I have such a battle in my head that I need to stay lean and tone versus just getting buff. So it's like we have it ingrained in us to be thin. It sucks. But when it comes to like buff women, like Linda Hamilton, Terminator, 2, Sarah Connor. I mean, like, when I was a kid, it was just she was such a badass, and she's 64, 65, and she almost got into just as good of a shape when she was like 60, filming the recent Terminator movie. So, it's one of those things where, so it's more of like a motivation. So I'm hoping that culture now is pushing towards strong women and also women with muscles being attractive. That is something that I find very exciting. So that's my little motivation for today. Some people had asked me about, questions in my last video because I'd asked for people's views and opinions. So the last, few minutes of this video, I'm going to talk about, say, like, and this kind of goes along with strong women, like the bathroom ban in, what was it, Florida? No. Florida was doing the one that's sports ban for women, trans women or trans girls to be able to play sports. Of course, I think it's fucking stupid. Like, it's so dumb. I have been working out hardcore for like 3, 4 years, and this is where I've gotten to. And we're talking if I was not on the hormones that I'm on right now, I would be fucking huge. I would be like huge, huge buff. So no, there isn't an advantage. What there is advantage to is women who trans people who do not take hormones. If you do not take hormones, especially it's the science behind it is 3 years later. Once you've been on HRT for 3 years, you no longer hold the strength. Now, some people, would like to think they know a trans person that's been on HRT and, they're just as strong. That's because they started late in life. So, like, once you've developed massive amounts of muscle and then you, like, suddenly, so there needs to be stipulations. Like, there needs to be an age point when you're taking hormones because, like, once you've been on like male testosterone, like naturally, you're going to have built-in muscle that takes years to burn off, and that muscle gives you strength. So yes, there is an advantage when it comes to that. As far as this specifically, where it comes to banning young trans girls from playing sports with other girls, that's just transphobia. I mean, you have testosterone blockers, which stop your puberty, and so, they even had the trans male that was the wrestler that was like, wanted to wrestle with the boys, and they said no, so they made him wrestle the girls and beat all of them. And it's a female to male. So it's like the whole theory just went all backwards. And the other one, there's a professional boxer, female to male, that won a boxing tournament, like national, recognition, a professional boxing tournament, and won first place, and is a trans male, was born female, transitioned to male, and beat all the other cis people. And one of the one they actually went against towards the end had been unbeatable at that point. So yes, transitioning does matter. Testosterone does matter. Estrogen does matter. These things can't be brushed off like they don't matter. So that's why I stand firm on hormones the way I do, especially when it comes to transitioning and so on and so forth. But my reasoning is it's not just physical, because the physical, if you're not competing, doesn't really matter. It's the mental. Your brain physically changes. Chemistry changes when you get on hormones. So that's why I believe it's vital when you transition to take hormones. But whatever makes people happy is what makes them happy. So, in Tennessee, where I live, there's a bathroom ban now to where you have to have a sign in your business that says, allows trans people to use this bathroom. Like, you have to actually have that. So if a trans person goes in the bathroom, people can't get upset because you have to have a sign stating that we allow trans people in this bathroom. Now, imagine me going into the men's restroom. Can you see how that shit would get like crazy? Like if it would be dangerous for me. It would be dangerous for the men because I'd beat the shit out of them if they touched me. And it's one of those things like to, throw me out, or if they find out I'm trans or whatever. If there's anything violent, I'd probably beat the shit out of them, or I'd try, knock them a few times. But it's one of those things where putting these rules on your natural born sex is so ridiculous. And it's just because people fear it, It's the same reason why the people that come in my comment sections that always insult me for being a man, or I'll never be a woman, or I don't look like a woman, are the same guys jerking off to trans girls on Pornhub, and then they guilt themselves, and then they go to church where we're condemned, and then they go out and they have to feel the need to attack trans women so that we respond, and then they have a reason to hate us. But secretly they like us. So, it's the same thing. Fear. It's fear of your own self. Anyway. So when it comes to like, and Arkansas has the same bill, like Tennessee, Arkansas, Florida, so on and so forth. It's pretty stupid. So when it comes to like, and it's not just conservatives, like, I mean, in this situation, yes, actually it is. Primarily they're conservative people that dislike trans people just because they don't understand us. But then liberals, on the other hand, are far too open-minded. I'm not a liberal. I identify as a progressive. And so liberals are far too, like, let's just accept everything. And I don't think that that's the right path either. I think there needs to be science and hormones. And I believe that you have to, Anyway, so I'm going to end this video now. 15 minutes, but I hope everybody's doing well, and I hope everyone's life is going great, and I hope their summer's going great. I am about to go to the gym, and I'm going to use my strong woman with muscle motivation, and I'm going to push myself while I'm there. I hope y'all have a great day. Bye.